Hey there dissectors, and welcome to another haunted location. Today we delve into the paranormal history at Raynham Hall in Norfolk in the UK. This mansion is where the most famous picture of a spirit was taken back in 1936, one that has added intrigue and mystery to this beautiful country house, a property owned by the Townsend family for around 400 years. Was the picture faked? Who is the lady in the picture said to be, and has the female entity who was photographed been seen since? But her spirit is not alone. It is also believed to be where the ghost of the man in the iron mask resides. Let's get a little background on the home to see where all this mystery began. Sir Roger Townsend was an English landowner and politician who had a seat in the House of Commons from 1621 to 1629. Raynham Hall was believed to be ahead of its time in design, with people claiming that if it had been built 100 years later, it would easily have fit in. The first sighting of our most famous spirit occurred in 1735 at a Christmas party. Her identity recognised from a painting hanging in one of the rooms. Said to be dressed in brown, gaining her the nickname the Brown Lady. Her face was said to be glowing, but her eyes spoke of something else entirely, described as being empty, hollow pits in her skull. When one guest described his experience, the staff was so horrified that many quit their jobs shortly after. Her spirit was captured on September 19, 1936 by Captain Hubert C. Provand, who was visiting the hall on a photography assignment to capture images of the beauty of the place. As Provand was about to take a photograph of the stairwell, his head was said to be under the black cloth attached to the camera when his assistant, a man called Indre Sharir, saw something he just couldn't explain. He pleaded with Provand to take the shot quickly before whatever it was disappeared, and what was produced was the famous image that was published for the first time later that same year in the magazine Country Life. Now, many have claimed that the image is fake as it seems to resemble a statue of the Virgin Mary. But if this is true, why has her spirit made herself known so many times, haunting Raynham Hall even to this day? Well, it's believed to be the spirit of Lady Dorothy Walpole, who was Charles Townsend's second wife. There are many theories as to how this lady's life ended, so here are some of those theories for you to decide which is true. The couple had married in 1713, but apparently the marriage was never a happy one, as Charles is reported to have had a jealous side and aggressive temper. One rumour goes that Charles caught his wife in the arms of Lord Wharton, and for punishment he locked her away in her rooms at Raynham Hall. Another story says that Dorothy was set up by Countess Wharton, the wife of Lord Wharton. It is claimed that the Countess knew of Charles's darker side, who would hate Dorothy to go anywhere without him. Apparently, she still invited her to their home for a couple of days, driving Charles into a fury. The outcome was the same. She was locked away until dying of smallpox in 1726. In 1826, Captain Frederick Marryat wanted to investigate the ghostly tales himself, and so decided to spend a couple of nights at Raynham Hall. The novelist and close friend of Charles Dickens was so scared while he stayed at the home that he is said to have slept with a loaded gun under his pillow. Then one night his wishes came true, or for him, maybe it was more of a nightmare. You see, the Brown Lady showed herself to him, walking along one of the hallways, holding a lamp in her hand. He later described her walking towards him very slowly and, in his words, grinning at him in a malicious and diabolical way. Marryat was so terrified by the experience that he actually shot the ghost in her face before she disappeared in front of him. Not sure what he thought that would do. Needless to say, he never returned to the property again. This experience begs the question then, why is she looking hateful towards people? Is she angry at how her life ended? I know I'd be pretty pissed off if I was treated so horrifically. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But the Brown Lady is not the only spirit said to haunt Raynham Hall. There is also the ghost of the Duke of Monmouth, a man who many believe was the man in the iron mask. The Duke was the illegitimate son of King Charles II of England. At one point in 1683, he was accused of high treason for being behind a plot to end the life of his father, resulting in the young man running for his life, hiding away in the Netherlands. When news reached him that his father had died, he returned to England in the hopes of taking the throne for himself, only to discover his uncle had already beat him to it. After seeing his uncle on the throne, he apparently believed that his father had been killed by poison by his uncle. Now the first rumour states that on July 15th, 1685, the poor Duke was executed at Tower Hill by an axe. Apparently it took 8 blows to sever his head, and only when he was dead was it realised that there was no official portrait of him. So what did they do to remedy this problem? Yeah, they decided to exhume his body, sew his head back on, and paint him in this way. Nice. But then there is the other rumour, that his uncle just couldn't face killing his nephew, and so had him imprisoned in France in one of Louis XIV's prisons. In a bid to hide his true identity, they placed a heavy iron mask on his head, gaining him the nickname the Man in the Iron Mask. Please bear in mind though, the true identity of the masked man is not known, so this is just a theory put forward by people over the years. But why would his spirit be seen haunting Raynham Hall? What is Monmouth's connection to the place? Maybe he visited it with his father at some point as a child, as the one thing that connects him is that King Charles II had a close friendship with Townsend, but who really knows? Raynham Hall is not open to the public as it is still a private home. Tours are occasionally offered, but if you want to enjoy the beauty of this property, you can take a stroll around the estate the home is in. Maybe you'll get to see one of these 2 famous spirits mentioned, or will you see the spirit of a caretaker and his cocker spaniel said to haunt here as well, or the spirit of 2 children who died long ago? So dissectors, what are your thoughts on today's haunted location? Do you believe that the picture was faked? I've seen the picture in many forms, and to be honest, the original looks genuine, but there are versions of it out there that I've seen that seem to have been doctored to look more like the Virgin Mary statue, so I understand why people may be hesitant to believe the photograph is real. But a spirit has been witnessed so many times that it seems more likely that something paranormal haunts the many corridors and rooms of this historic property. And the Townsend family are said to embrace her spirit, finding it comforting that she's still around. As for the spirit of the Duke, it's hard to say really. I mean, the male spirit could be someone else altogether, but whatever the case, it adds further mystery and intrigue to Raynham Hall. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and until next time, my friends, stay safe out there.